Yeah, I think something that I've gotten feedback on in the past, especially younger in my sales career, is that I stopped at a superficial level when it came to questions. You
Yeah.
mentioned that the nurse and the doctor go deeper and deeper. And I've even seen interviews. I was going through a process with AWS at one point, and they asked me a question. Tell me about a time you asked why 7 times. That's pretty dramatic. And I actually had to think about it. But what are your thoughts on like how, I mean, this is such a broad kind of vague subjective question, but how deep do you go with your questioning? Like, could you give a concrete example? Like maybe you're starting to get to a pain. Like how deep do you go in your discovery?
So I use a really simple framework. I call it the RIM. Okay. So whenever they say something that I want to cover, what's the relevance? What's the impact? What's the motive? Right? What's the relevance? What's the impact? What's the motive? So for example here, like it doesn't really matter what you're selling. Let's just say you're selling, I don't know, you're selling for HubSpot. And maybe it was an inbound lead and they said they're interested in maybe just like having a CRM, right? So, hey, cool. So what brought you on this call to begin with? Well, you know, like we're looking at get a CRM. And then most people start asking like really technical questions like, cool, like what features do you want to have? Right.
Yeah.
So, hey, tell me what sponsored you even want to look at a CRM?
Yes.
Well, we're using Google Sheets right now. God, tell me more about that. Well, we're using Google Sheets and it's kind of working, but we know we need something better. Seems like this is pretty important for you. Can you tell me more why you think you have to change from Google Sheets to something else? Well, like there's no way to like, to track, we manually put data in, there's no automation. There's no like, we don't have any data on what sites they visited on. We don't have like, we can't make calls in there. There's no real, we have to basically create everything and we can't follow up well. It's a whole thing. Got it. And why do you think it's a whole thing? Who is this impacting? Why is it impacting them? How do you know it's impacting them? What do they have to say about this? So you kind of start seeing, you start going those layers deep, right? And then they start telling you more and more and more. But here's the thing. It depends. Even 7 whys can be deceiving because you might go down that path, but we'll get to where you want to go, right? And here's what I mean by that. So let's just say, for example, they end up saying something like, well, like, yeah, this will make the sales reps' lives much easier. And then they'll actually log their calls and everything else. That's a pretty small problem to solve, to be quite frank, right? So now it's like, hey, so if the reps were able to utilize a CRM, it's going to help them be much more efficient and ultimately log calls and do all things to actually close more deals. How would that actually help the business? Well, that help us probably sell more deals. Cool. What do you mean by that? Well, we want to grow a lot more this year. When you talk about growth, what do you mean specifically? Well, currently we're at 8 million, we want to go to 10 million. Why 10 million? Wow, that's about 20% growth. And that'd be really amazing because ultimately that would put us on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies. And that seems like it's really important for you. Can you help me understand why? Well, it's for me, it's like I've always wanted to build a really cool business, and that'd be cool to break 8 figures this year. To mean a lot to me and to my dad, who's an exec at X company. Got it. So you kind of see like it's like even like same tying an arbitrator like 7 whys or certain level of depth can be kind of tricky to you because sometimes how they respond might take a little more digging and guiding to get to that level, that point. Because now he went from I need a CRM to solve Google Sheets to this is a tool that helped me basically make my dad proud, right? Like, it can be a whole something you know I'm picturing.
And it's funny you say that because my dad's literally on here and I do want to be proud and we all do.